Hi, my name is Miss Townsend and I love math. Welcome to Math with Townsend. This video is for grade 9 students who are looking for some EQAO practice material. I gave out a handout in class that had some EQAO questions, and let's take them up in this video. I think there were 7 questions, and I've made a different video for each question just to keep the videos a little shorter and so that you can just look at the questions that you were curious about. So here's the first question. It says that the diameter of the semicircle shown is 30 centimeters. So this diameter is 30 centimeters. And it says we need to find the perimeter and the area of the shape. Okay, so let's think about what we want to do. So before I think about if I'm going to start with perimeter or area, I'm going to try to think about the only information I know is that the diameter of the circle is 30 centimeters. So we know this is the center of that semicircle. So this radius line here must be 15, and this radius line would also be 15 because the radius is half the diameter. And if you'll notice, both of those lines have this little hash symbol on it, and that symbol is also here, and that tells us that this line segment must be the same length as the other line segments with that mark. So this is also 15 centimeters. So that's what I know from the information. So let's start talking about finding the perimeter. So yeah, you can see I'm selecting a pen here. Let's go with a nice pen. Boom. So perimeter is the distance around an object. So if you were to walk around this object, you would walk this path, and that's the perimeter of the shape. So remove all that extra coloring. So that means I need to find the length of this semicircle, the length of this piece, well I know that one is 15, and the length of this line segment. So let's call them, just so we can refer to them, I'm going to call this piece number 1, piece number 2, and piece number 3. Now we already know that piece number 2 is 15 centimeters, and it's the other 2 parts of that perimeter we need to find. So the first piece is obviously a half of a circle. And the circle, the perimeter of a circle is called circumference, and the formula for circumference from your formula sheet is either pi times diameter or 2 pi times radius, and we were given diameter, so let's use diameter. So if I only have a half of a circle, I only want half of the circumference, so I will take the circumference and divide by 2. So for this circle, we're going to do, we know that the diameter is 30, and, well, that's all the information we need. So pi times diameter divided by 2. So in my calculator, I'm going to use the pi button. Pi times 30 divided by 2. So the answer is 47.1 centimeters. So now I know that the length of the first part of the perimeter, this semicircular path, is 47.1, and I know that the second piece is 15 centimeters. Now I need to find the length of this third piece of the perimeter. So let's look at what that's going to do for us. So what I notice is that there's clearly a right-angled triangle here, right? And I've covered it up with some of my pen markings, but that was given to me as a right angle. And in that right angle, let me redraw it here just to make it a little more clear. We have a right angle where we know that this side is 30 centimeters, and we know that this side is 15 centimeters, and we're trying to find the length of this side. Well, because it's a right angled triangle, we can use the Pythagorean Theorem. And the Pythagorean Theorem tells us that c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So just a reminder, this formula is not given to you, so you do have to have it memorized. And the important thing about using the formula is that this number that goes here for c has to be the hypotenuse, which is the side opposite the right angle. So in this case, I would say that 30 squared is equal to, so one of the legs is 15 centimeters, and the other leg I don't know, so I'm just going to leave it as the unknown variable b. And now I just do this math. So 30 squared is 900, 15 squared is 225. I still don't know b, so that's just b squared. And I'm trying to solve or isolate b, so first I'm going to get rid of 225. So to get rid of addition of 225, on both sides I'm going to subtract 225. So 900 minus 225, that gives me 675. And of course here, when I subtract 225, that just leaves b squared. So now I know what b squared is, and I want to find b. So to isolate b, I need to remove the squaring, or exponent 2, and the inverse. To get rid of it, I need to take the square root of both sides. So here, when I take the square root, I end up with b. And on the other side, when I square root 675, I get 25.98. So if I'm rounding to one decimal, that's basically 26, or 26.0 if you want to show that you rounded to one decimal clearly. So now I know that the length of the third side for the perimeter is 26.0. So altogether, my perimeter is equal to, so I had 47.1, that was the semicircle, plus 15, that was the short side of the triangle, plus 26.0, that's the long side of it. So when I add those numbers together, I will get the perimeter of the shape, which is 88.1 centimeters squared. Sorry, just centimeters. Perimeter is a one-dimensional measurement. It's a straight line ruler measurement. It's not a square, my bad. So that's the perimeter. Yay. But we're not done, because it also said to find the area. So I'm going to clear my writing. So bye-bye. So that we can relook at this as a question about area. And hopefully I can remember all the information I just erased if I need it. So to find area, I'm going to mentally divide this shape into two pieces. One is going to be this semicircle, and the other is going to be this triangle. So again, for the first piece, we know that we have a half of a circle. We know the area of a circle is pi r squared. So if I only have half of a circle, I want to take pi r squared and divide that by 2. So if you remember that the diameter was 30, and therefore the radius was 15, and that's the radius that I need to use in my equation. So the area is pi times radius squared divided by 2, and the radius was 15. So now order of operations tells me that I have to do 15 squared first, then multiply by pi, and then I'm going to divide by 2. So the area of that semicircle is 353.4 centimeters squared. So that's the area of this piece. So now let's look at the other piece. So what I have is a right-angled triangle. And for any triangle, the area formula is base times height divided by 2. And of course, what's really important about base and height is that base and height have to meet at a 90-degree angle to be considered base and height. And I do have a 90-degree angle. It's right here. And so I know that this side and this side would be the base and the height. And if this was 15 centimeters because it's equivalent, due to these hash marks, to the radius. And this side we found through calculating the Pythagorean Theorem. And I erased it, but let me just remind myself, what was it? It was 26. So this side was 26 centimeters. And again, we calculated that in the previous part of the question when we were doing perimeter. So if these two sides meet at 90 degrees, they're considered the base and the height of the triangle. One is 15 centimeters and one is 26, so I can just sub that directly into my formula. So the area is base times height, divided by 2. So that gives me an area for the triangular piece of 195 centimeters squared. So the total area of the shape, total area, is, just add them together, 353.4 plus 195, and that gives me a total area of 548.4 centimeters squared. Okay, so again, make sure that you recognize what's really important about this question is knowing that these markings here indicate the same length of line segments. Knowing again the connection obviously between diameter and radius, and then also the importance of this right angle. so that we could use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side length, and so that we can properly use the sides that are considered base and height in the area calculation. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and that was the first question in the handout. I will make another video on the second question and so on. Thanks for watching. Bye.